Gemini Pro is flying under the radar right now. Actually, scrap that. What Google is doing in general regarding AI is flying under the radar. OpenAI gets most of the attention, but honestly, Google is a sleeping giant with some of the things they're cooking at the moment. And the fact that their AI models are starting to integrate really well with their different tools, like YouTube and G Suite, etc., I think it really makes their product infinitely more valuable than some of the other solutions on market. So in this video, I just thought I would do a quick tutorial on Gemini Pro and all the functionality now available, really focusing in on the 80/20. And honestly, some of the stuff, if you're running a business, you're an entrepreneur, you're a creator, should be saving you money, making you money, and just giving you time back in the day. It's that good. And just a bit of a hot tip, wait until the end. In the last feature, I'm going to go over an absolute banger, essentially put some of the best and biggest consultancies on the world, McKinsey, Bain, on notice, really. It's that good. All right, let's dive in. So this is the Gemini interface. Shouldn't surprise you. Looks like the ChatGPT interface. When you go into it for the first time, I highly encourage you to actually just go into the settings section and set it up for success for yourself. So the first thing you want to do is actually just come in here. You can see all the different options. I'll just focus in on the few things I highly recommend you do. The first is saved info. Here. This is where you essentially share information about yourself with Gemini, so it can tailor the answers. You can see I've put I prefer short, concise responses based on facts. So Gemini will be reminded of this every time you're interacting with it. Here are some examples that they give you, right? Like they're saying use simple language and avoid jargon. You might want to tell it you're vegetarian, so if you're talking to it about food, it knows that and has that context. But really, this is where you'd upload personal information and context on yourself, so the answers that Gemini come back with are relevant. Super simple to do it. Essentially hit the add button and you essentially just tell it what you want to know about you. So you can be like, I'm on the keto diet right now. All right, submit it and it will load right there. And you can see a history of all the different things that you've told it. So that's the first thing I would encourage you. Go into settings and set it up. Tell it everything you want it to know about you, what do you do for work, where you live, what you're trying to do, your goals. The more you upload it, the better the responses. The second thing you want to do is come into the apps. And I kind of touched on it in my intro, but the real power of Gemini compared to some of the other solutions in the market is around how well it integrates back into its different tools. Um, and so here you can see things it can integrate with, like GitHub, Workspace, Google Flies, Google Hotels, Google Maps, YouTube, which is great. So if you want to, you can obviously choose what you want it to integrate with. You can see I have Google Workspace toggled on. Um, I pretty much have it all toggled on, right? So I think it just gives you that flexibility to reach out and have a chat back into, a Google Sheet. And I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. So this is the second thing I encourage you to do. And third thing to do, it's got share links. So I know this is what I use with my partner. Obviously, a different account, but you can see if you've got a chat that you want to share with people, you can create different share links and obviously share the chat. They can see what's in it, they can see the conversation, and then you've got a whole list of your share links here. So these are three cool for pieces of functionality that just is worthwhile noting in the settings section. Now, let's get it out of the settings section. Okay, and let's go to my favorite thing, or not my favorite, but one of the real cool things is that integration I just showed you. So I want to show you how that app's working with, Google Drive, YouTube, the calendar works. So you could see I connected it to the G Suite. And let me show you how you can like reference things, right? So if you do an app, you can see all the things I've connected with. So maybe for the first one, I will talk to my Google Drive and I'll say, I've actually got a spreadsheet where I write like quotes and things. So let me find this in my life principles sheet document. What are three quotes I have saved? Right. So this is in my Google Drive in a sheet document. I've essentially collate quotes. And so I'm asking Gemini to go back in and pull out three quotes that are actually in that spreadsheet. Um, So give it a moment, and look, it's coming back with an answer right now. Here we go. What do we have? So it's found the spreadsheet I'm talking about, and it's gone into it and looked at the data and pulled out three quotes. You can't hit what you don't target. You can't lose it if you don't quit. You can't lose if you don't quit. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get. So that's pretty cool, right? The next thing I'll show you, it's like, um, let me show you. You can talk on the calendar, right? This is a year build of it. Do I have any birthdays upcoming in July? All right. That's probably a question you might want to know. Like, what do I have coming up? There you go. Here's an upcoming birth in July. Damien, 20th of July, 2025. That's actually me. Um, let's go. Last one. Let's go to Google Task. All right. Let me actually open up. Um, buy IKEA furniture this weekend on 19th of July. You got it. Buy IKEA furniture on your Google Task for the weekend on July 19th. And see how it's just added it just there and then. All right. I won't go through that. I've got all my different tasks up, but you can see it's actually opened up the task and it's going to be able to go there. Um, so that's pretty awesome, right? So that's the first thing. Um, I really want to focus this get the learning around is that right now it actually is integrating quite well with G Suite. It's doing great stuff with YouTube as well. I can reference YouTube, pull in a video, find me a lesson on how to use the latest, ChatGPT agent capability, right? It'll go and find me a video and I can go through it. The next thing I want to touch on is the models. So three models in here. This is really pretty self-explanatory. I love how they kind of simplified it. 2.5 Flash. This is, just fast, quick questions, real basic stuff. You'll probably should have your model in Gemini on that most of the time. Uh, 2.5 Pro, which I guess the real core of this video, is the reasoning model. This is if you got, complex thing that it's going to take step by step by step. You need it to solve through. My rule of thumb is when I'm choosing a model is if what I'm asking, would I give it to the most junior person in my company, or would I look to give it to a senior person with 10 years tenure? And if I'm going to give it to 10 years, someone with 10 years tenure, it's obviously a bit more of a complex question. So I'm going to go with the 2.5 Pro. All right. So I think that's just a good rule way to potentially think about when you're in Google here. So if it's simple, you're going to give it a junior person, 2.5 Flash. If it's complex, multiple steps, you need it to think and analyze, you want to use the 2.5 Pro. And then the third one is quite cool. Based on your search history, it obviously knows your search history. This is an experimental feature, but you can chat to it around it and ask it questions, and it can give you responses based on it. So maybe I'll show you this, right? What websites do you think I'm spending the most time procrastinating on, but doesn't add a lot of value to my life? This most time procrastinating on. This might be a little confronting. You gotta get a little peek into my life. So this is new functionality. You can see on the screen there, it's talking about experimental functionality. But it's cool. This is like something Gemini can do that, ChatGPT can't do or Grok can't do. And like I said at the start, it's this integration capability from Google back into, their ecosystem, which I think really um, stand them apart for some of the other solutions right now. Right. So it's having a little bit of a think around it. Go. It actually doesn't usually take this long, so I'm not too sure what's happening right here. Maybe if I just quickly do it again. Let me just try it again. I'll based on your reconfirm, it seems you might be spending a fair bit of time TV guide. This search, this is a pretty funny one. It's essentially saying I always go in and always search for TV Guide Yahoo, which is in Australia, where I'll look at the TV guide, and it's essentially saying, well, The numerous searches for TV Guide across different dates suggest you often check what's on television. While knowing the TV schedule can be helpful, it frequently implies it could be a source of procrastination. That's pretty insightful. I do search for it a lot. So this is obviously to get more powerful. It's an experimental feature, but worth calling out and having a play around with. Now, let's go back and let me touch on deep research. So this is cool. Think about this as like a personal, highly paid research assistant. You know, you've got Bain and McKinsey at your disposal. What you want to be putting in here for deep research is um, deep research is now smarter than ever. Get better reports, more insightful analysis, enhancing reasoning with deep research on 2.5 Pro, available only. Okay. So you want to put stuff in here that is complex, multifaceted, you need critical analysis, etc. They're the kind of questions you want to ask in here. So I've kind of pre-prepared one. Um, so let me just pull this out. Analyze the long-term socio-economic implications of widespread adoption of fully autonomous vehicles on urban planning, employment sectors, and individual privacy. Your research should consider both potential benefits and drawbacks, drawing on case studies or projections for diverse geographical regions and technologies. Okay, complex question. Now, let's get it to work. This does take a little bit more time. So I've started it and I'll come back to it. Thinking of the plan, I'm not going to read through the plan, but this is the general process that comes through. You give it the idea, it essentially tells you what it's about to do. It's got to research all these websites, analyze it, create a report. So it's going to be ready in a couple of minutes. So, like I said, I'm going to come back to this. Now I've started it. Okay. Now let me open up another chat. And in the meantime, I want to show you the video capability. So this is some wild video creating capability, all right? It can essentially create little videos based on your input. So this is the VEO3. So we're going to do that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how it's going to generate a quick video. So this is my cat. Let me pull up my cat. You can see out there. And I want to write something like this. Actually, no, I'm not. That's the last one. I'm going to write something like create a video of my cat swimming in a pool with Mexican sombrero hat on with Mexican music in the background. Okay, so that will get to work. It's a cute cat. Her name's Echo, if you're wondering if you saw the file name. All right, so that's going to start working. Now, let me quickly go back to and this does take a couple of minutes. It's obviously quite advanced capability. So I will let this generate. All right, so we've got the video. It's generated. Here we go. Let's play it. How cute is that? And how high quality is that? How good is that? So that's my cat, and that's the video. All right. As you can see, that's awesome functionality, awesome capability. If you remember when video AI capability first launched, it wasn't that great. And now it's getting to the point where, you go and post that on Instagram and you'll get a laugh out of it, right? Something like that could go viral. All right, let's go back to deep research and check how we're progressing. All right, we are back. I've had to do a fast forward. That actually took a little longer on the deep research than I thought. But you can see here, this is the output that comes back. Um, it's come back with a fully fledged report, right? So it's saying the widespread adoption. You remember the question I wrote around autonomous vehicles, right? navigating the socio-economic transformation of an autonomous world. The widespread adoption of fully autonomous vehicles represent a watershed moment in transportation history, poised to trigger socio-economic transformation of a magnitude not seen since the advent of the automobile itself. So it's written an executive summary, timelines, before analysing the profound socioeconomics. Imperative level one, no driving. Look at the detail of this report. Comparative analysis of global AV policy frameworks. Look how, like, in a yesteryear, this would have taken someone weeks, and consultants would be charging hundreds of thousands of dollars to generate a report like this, and it was just done within, 5 minutes. It's pretty wild. So I'm not going to read the report. I can guarantee you, um, that this report is high quality. I will actually export it. If anyone's watching it and wants to actually read the read the report, I will export it. Hit me up on YouTube and I will send it across. But this is not where it ends, right? So I've asked it a really hard question and it's come back with, really smart answer. It's come back with a detailed report that makes sense, it's coherent. But that's not even the best thing. This is the thing that I blows my mind. It's what I was referring to right at the start. I can turn this into a web page, report into a web page. I can turn it into an infographic. I can turn it into audio overview so I can listen to it. I can turn it into a quiz, right? So let me generate an infographic based on it. So I'm not going to go through the details. You're going to get a little bored if I'm reading the whole report to you. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to allow it to generate an infographic. So I'm going to fast forward again. Okay, I'm back. All right. Now let's look at the infographic, right? So they had that huge report. It was coherent. I actually was reading it while this was generating. Um, Now look at this. The road ahead, navigating the socio-economic shift of autonomous vehicles. Projected share of new cars sold with high autonomy by 2040, 75. Reclaiming urban space, projected commute time reduction, the workforce and transition, the rise of autonomous vehicles presents a dual-edged sword for employment, while many jobs in the transportation sector face displacement, new opportunities arise. Project impact, projected job impact by sector, professional driving, taxis, AV technology maintenance, infrastructure planning. Look at this. This is wild, right? So this deep research question to infographic to creating a quiz to creating an audio file. Consultants like Bain, McKinsey, PwC, EY get paid big money to do pieces of work like this, and you can just do it for with Gemini Pro for, $30 a month. It is wild, guys. It is wild. It is a wild time to be alive, the latest capability. I might stop there. As you can see, Gemini, Google, it's absolutely cooking with it. Like I said at the start, this is just really what I think is the 80/20, the things that I think you're going to get the most value out of, right? Deep research, using the infographics, and this is the Canvas part right here, using gems. Making sure you use the settings section. These are just valuable pieces of functionality. Doing the app integrations back in the G Suite. These are just valuable functionality that can really, save you time, make you money, and just really make your life a little better. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please give it a like and subscribe, and share it around, if you really liked it. Until next time, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next video.